Then we have what is called the theater on the round. So notice that this type of theater does not have a back wall. So it has an audience on all sides. So this creates an even more intimate atmosphere. And nonetheless, because it doesn't have a back wall, theater makers here will need to use minimal scenery. So with this, I mean scenery that doesn't block the sidelines of the audience. Also, the action on stage is it's sometimes better or more enjoyable for the audience on all four sides if it moves toward the stage center. So that way everybody can have a more proportionate and an equal sideline of what's happening. Yet, another type of theater is a flexible stage, so sometimes called black box. So a flexible stage is just an empty space where you can arrange the seats of the audience in any way you like. So you can create a thrust stage, a theater on the round, a proscenium stage, or even experiment and do something new. So sometimes it's called a black box because this is a typical performing area used in drama schools. So usually when you attend one of these black box theaters, it would be at a drama school or at a studio where performers are either students or are experimenting on something. So yes, and because usually it's mostly a small space, it does allow for some intimacy with the audience and to do something new. But because you will most probably be using a minimum equipment or scenery because it's mostly experimental, the way to properly reach the audience relies more than ever in the actors. Then we have other types of staging. We have the traverse stage. So this stage is characterized for having the audience seated on only two sides of the performing area. So it's like a catwalk, you know, like in those fashion shows and the models walk through the catwalks and there's audience on only two sides. So this, if done properly, this can be very engaging because it is like when you're watching a game, a sports game. So usually you would have the fans of one team sitting in one side and then the fans of the other team on the other side. So it allows for the audience to engage in that sort of pace of seeing who wins or seeing who gets the upper hand and getting emotional about it. So because of that, this could be a proper space to do a duologue. So, you know, some people in the audience will be watching the reactions of the actor here, and on this side will be watching the reactions of the other actor on this side, if you're doing a duologue. So a key thing to have in mind is that you have to work the lighting very carefully in order not to create that many shadows that, you know, that can harm or tamper the picture being made. Also, we have what it's called the promenade stage. So this type of staging is different. So sometimes it's done outdoors, but here you would have each action or each unit of or each scene of the play will be done at a different location. So the audience just starts following the actors and moving around. So and this allows for very experimental things to happen and even for let's say Brechtian type of shows to happen. So because it reminds the audience that they're in a theater and they're just watching a show, watching a play. But a key thing to have in mind is that sometimes it can be difficult to properly manage the audience from one side or from one location to the other.